Hello and welcome back to another episode on Heal Out Loud. And today's episode is all about awareness versus actual change and why healing goes way deeper than therapy. Most probably, if you're listening to Heal Out Loud, by now you already know why you are the way that you are. You already have some awareness about your patterns, about your mindset, about how you show up in this world and why certain things keep happening in your life and why you keep reliving certain patterns. So most probably by now you have the awareness. And awareness is powerful because someone who's not aware is a full-blown cunt. But awareness is not transformation. There was a period in my life where I wasn't aware at all of what was happening in my life. I thought that I was just unlucky in life, unlucky in love. I thought I was just born to feel depressed, to feel sad. I just thought that some people are born to feel like that. However, around 7 years ago, I started building awareness. I started noticing certain patterns happening in my life. I started questioning how come the same things, the same story keeps happening, but with different people. And I noticed that the common denominator in everything was me. And that's when I started reading lots of self-help books, doing lots of meditation, journaling, any healing method under the sun, basically, so I could feel better, so I could feel normal, so I could stop feeling like there was something wrong with me, that I was unlovable, that I didn't belong. However, with the awareness, what happened was things got really worse because I knew what I should be doing and I couldn't do it. As soon as I got triggered, I would step back into my unhealed version. I would get upset. I would feel sad. I would have lots of negative internal conversations. And that was even worse because I knew what I should be doing, but I couldn't do it. So it's very good that you have the awareness. But now what is the next step? What do you have to do after having the awareness? And for those of you who listened to episode 11, A Note to My Mother, you all have an idea of my mom's story by now. So my mom was a very good human being who unfortunately had a very, very bad addiction, a crack addiction, which took away her smile, her self-esteem, her kids, her family, until eventually, and unfortunately, and very sadly, it took away her life. My mom had a lot of awareness. She's done lots of therapy. She went to lots of rehabs, one after the other. So my mom had lots of awareness. She knew what she should be doing, but she couldn't do it. She knew why she felt the way that she did. She knew why drugs were the answer to her problems. She knew why she needed them to numb the pain. However, she could still not heal herself, basically. Like since I was a kid, I remember my mom teaching me about affirmations, teaching me to journal, teaching me to meditate. She used to take me out in nature and doing things that ground us. She read lots of books. I remember her reading How to Heal Yourself and telling me to read it as well. And she used to do the exercises on this book. Many books, lots of healing, lots of awareness. However, my mom kept relapsing. And after my mom passed away and I read the book that she wrote about her life, I realized one major thing, that both my mom and I felt very much the same. It's just that my mom took the road to drugs to numb her pain, and I took a different road where I was using studying and other methods to numb the pain. But quite frankly, we both felt very much the same. My mom felt like there was something wrong with her. My mom felt like she did not fit in. My mom thought that she is unlovable. My mom thought that she is ugly, that she is not good enough for anybody. And all these beliefs and all these feelings, which were carried from her childhood wounds, led her to numb the pain by using drugs. And when she was trying to come sober, when she was trying to come clean, which she tried many, many times, especially because she had 3 kids, something used to happen. She used to leave rehab very motivated, very ready for the new life that she was going to live. My sisters would move back in with her. I would be visiting way more often. And she used to really, really try. She had a routine. She had a morning routine, an evening routine. She had therapy. She used to go to these programs that people go to after they leave rehab. She really, really did try. However, she kept on relapsing, one relapse after the other, and then she carried more shame. Then she shamed herself even more. She spiraled. When she was shaming herself, she would take even more drugs. So let's think about a time when you binge eat and you shame yourself for the amount of food that you've indulged in. And the more you shame yourself, the more you keep on eating. So number one, definitely, if we want to shift from just having the awareness to shift you into doing the actual transformation, doing the actual change, you need to stop shaming and blaming yourself. You need to be kind and compassionate towards yourself. And what does this look like? For example, you had a binging episode. Instead of shaming and blaming yourself and calling yourself disgusting and ugly and fat and this and undisciplined, unmotivated, instead of treating yourself this way, what you can do is to first have the awareness like, listen, I know I do not want to do this again. And I know I should not have done this. And then shift into being kind and compassionate towards yourself. And that would look like something, okay, I know I should not do this. I know I do not want to do this again, but the past is gone. There's no use crying over spilt milk. The past is done and dusted. What I can control is the present moment. And I need to be kind and compassionate towards myself. This binge episode happened because there was some emotions that I needed to attend to, which I didn't. I was emotional eating. And it's gone now, and I forgive myself. Another cycle where you usually shame yourself is when you say that you're going to the gym and you don't go, or when you say that you're going to wake up earlier and you don't manage, or when you say that you're not going to waste time on your phone and you don't manage. Everything that happens that you're not proud of, that you're feeling sad about, be aware that you want to change this. Ask yourself, how can I not do this again in the future? What do I need from myself to not do this again in the future? And then be kind and compassionate towards yourself because something happened for you to have acted in that way. So that is number one. Number two is to try and maintain a regulated nervous system throughout the day. So instead of waking up in a rush, rushing to have your breakfast, rushing to go to work, fighting with people, and lots of road rage on the road, rushing to work, opening your emails, starting one project, going on to another project, calling, messaging, doing this and that, then rushing back home. And then, of course, after a whole day of feeling dysregulated, the first thing that you're going to do when you arrive home is to lie on the sofa and you end up feeling stuck in freeze mode, scrolling on your phone. So what you need to do, the second thing is to shift from awareness to actual transformation, is to try and maintain a regulated nervous system throughout the day. And you do so by doing one thing at a time. No one is running after you. You're not carrying the whole weight of the world on your shoulders. Just do one thing at a time. And if certain thoughts pop up throughout the day that you need to do this later on, or you need to do that later on, instead of stopping from what you're doing and jumping on to the next task, open your notepad on your phone, or maybe you have a paper where you can write on, or your diary, and write down the things that you're remembering of that you need to do later on. Once you finish one task, go to the next task. But stop trying to multitask because our nervous system is not regulated for that. Your nervous system is going to be constantly dysregulated. And if your nervous system is dysregulated, what your nervous system thinks, what your body thinks, is that there is a tiger attacking you. And if you're going to spend a whole day running away from a tiger attack, trying to save yourself from a tiger attack, of course that then at 5 p.m., 6 p.m., you're not going to want to go to the gym, you're not going to want to cook for yourself, you're not going to want to stick to the plans that you said that you will in the morning. So very important that you try and maintain a regulated nervous system. You can do so by doing one task at a time. You can breathe through the tasks as well. So breathe in for 4 from your nose and make sure that the exhale is longer from your mouth. Maybe breathe in for 4, exhale for 6. Because when you're breathing in for 4 and out for 6, for example, you are sending a direct message to your body and to your brain that you are safe. Because if you are being attacked by a tiger, you would definitely not breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 6. The third thing that I suggest that you do to shift from awareness to actual change and to stop getting lost in the same patterns every single time is to start noticing when you feel anxious or when you feel panicked or when you feel fear, what is happening to your body, because the body speaks to you before your brain does. So, for example, you receive a worrying email at work and you start feeling anxiety. And maybe that looks like sweating, or maybe you have a rush of heat in your body. Maybe you start trembling. Maybe you start feeling that you're about to vomit. So figure out what is the psychosomatic response that's happening in your body before you actually lose it. And when you notice what is that psychosomatic response, for example, sweating, stop and sit with yourself. Do the breathing exercises I just spoke to you about, and then let yourself know, listen, I am safe. It's okay. I've got myself. I don't need to panic. Everything is going to be fine. And like that, you're going to continue regulating your nervous system. The fourth thing that you should do is to make a plan from the night before. So make a plan for the next day from the night before. Prepare your clothes, prepare your work clothes. If you need to go to the gym, prepare your gym clothes so you take them with you and you don't have time to go home. So you keep on going straight to the gym or to a class or whatever you'd like to attend to. And prepare your lunch, prepare your breakfast, and prepare what you're going to cook the next day for dinner. And every dinner that you prepare, you can make extra food and take for lunch with you at work. Because if you have everything prepared and laid out, it's going to be way easier to stick to your plan. Number 5 is to incorporate movement in your day-to-day. You might say that you don't have time to move, but in those 10 free minutes that you have, instead of scrolling on your phone and feeling even more tired, you can get up and go for a 10-minute walk. And you might say, what's the whole point of going for a 10-minute walk? Okay, so what's the whole point of staying 10 minutes on your phone scrolling, indulging in lots of information that isn't even worth your time? So let's go back to when you were a kid and you used to spend around 6 hours at school. And after school, you used to feel exhausted because you had an overload of information given to you on the day. So let's go back to the now, to the present moment. You're an adult who your responsibility is not just going to school. It's going to work. It's thinking what you're going to cook, seeing what bills you have to pay, seeing what needs to be done in the house, what needs to be done with the family, with friends. And then you're going to go in your free 10 minutes on your phone to indulge more and more information that you do not need. Of course, you're going to feel exhausted. You used to feel exhausted 6 hours at school, let alone now, where you have way more responsibilities than when you were a 10-year-old. The sixth thing that I suggest is to journal. When you journal, you're going to call yourself out on your bullshit, because when you're lost in your thoughts, you're just like entertaining the same voice over and over. But when you're sitting down and writing on a piece of paper, your thoughts can be mapped out even more clearly. I suggest that you journal about this in the morning. So what is one thing that I need from myself today? And the next thing I suggest that you journal on is 3 things that you're grateful for today. Because the more you're going to express gratitude, the more things to be grateful for you're going to receive. And in the evening, instead of wasting time on your phone, I suggest that you journal on what is one thing that I need to let go of to become a better person. And once you have that thing, ask yourself, what are practical ways that I can show up in my life to get rid of this one thing? If you're just going to have the awareness and you're not going to do the work, you're going to feel stuck and you're going to feel like nothing ever works out for you, that it's true that there's something wrong with you, and you're going to keep on believing and reaffirming this negative story that you have about yourself. And I'm going to drop a tough love, hard truth. If you're not going to help yourself, no one can save you. Only you can save yourself. And you can cry as much as you want. You can entertain your victim story as much as you want. You can say, because others are lucky, I have it worse than everyone else. It's because they have a mom. It's because they have a dad like this. It's because they have money. It's because they have contacts. It's because they are this and that. You can keep on entertaining that story as much as you want, but that story is what is keeping you stuck. And no one is going to delete that story for you. Only you can delete that story by rewiring your subconscious brain by doing the actual work. You can listen to this podcast as much as you want. You can read as many self-help books as much as you want. But if you're not going to sit down and become actually conscious of what you're doing in your day-to-day life, what stories you're entertaining in your head, what boundaries you are allowing others to overstep, in what ways you're disrespecting yourself, in what ways you're not taking care of yourself. If you're not going to sit down and do the actual work, you're going to stay stuck, and you can keep on feeling like a victim as much as you want, but that is the reality of it. And I say this with a lot of love and compassion because I do understand how sad this feels. I used to be in the same position as you. However, one point or another, you're going to have to pull your socks up if you want your life to change and do the actual work. And you were not born on this planet to suffer. The 7 things I want you to do is to stop wasting time gossiping and talking about others and comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. Instead of wasting time comparing yourself to other people, it's about time that you start comparing yourself to you. Compare yourself to where you were 2 years ago, 1 year ago, last month, quite frankly. Stop comparing yourself to others. And instead of getting lost in gossiping and pointing fingers and thinking about other people's lives, take some time to take all that energy and pour it back into you, because you gossip and you talk about other people and you're more nosy about other people's lives than your own because you are running away from your own life. Other people do not think about you as much as you think about them. Other people do not gossip about you, do not, quite frankly, care about you. Everyone is so self-absorbed. So do like them and focus on you. The next thing I want you to do is to stop retelling the same story. Stop calling your friend to tell her what happened. Stop calling your mom. Stop calling your aunt. Stop calling your uncle. Stop telling your colleagues. Stop repeating the same story over and over again. Your body does not know the difference between you saying a story that happened in the past or you reliving it. In fact, actually, when you're saying a story, you start feeling the same feelings of when that story happened. So you start feeling anxiety, you start feeling fear, you start feeling anger, sadness once again. So stop repeating the same story over and over again. You do not need to vent anymore. All you need to do is to sit with what's coming up. And after you sit with what's coming up, yes, you can share with a friend that you're feeling sadness. You can share with a friend that you need support, but you do not need to keep repeating the same story over and over again. Because the more you're going to repeat it, the more you're going to attract stories which are going to bring sadness, anger, fear, anxiety into your life. You are the creator of your reality. You are the operant power of your reality. Take care of your thoughts, take care of your mind, and let the universe, let God, or whatever you call it, do the rest. And the last thing that I suggest that is very important to do is to pause before you act. Every time that something happens where you feel that psychosomatic response that we talked about before happening in the body, pause. You do not need to reply to the text immediately. You do not need to reply to the person immediately. You do not need to react to the person in front of you immediately. You have every right to pause, ground yourself, and say, I choose to react differently. And I know that this is very hard when you are triggered. I know that this is super hard. Sometimes even I do not manage to pause. So I truly understand this, but you have to at least try. You have to at least start trying. For example, you receive some messages and you're going to answer them and instead say, no, what do I need first? Do I have to finish something before I go on my phone and reply to these messages? Always put yourself first. The more energy you're going to put on you, the more others will put their positive energy onto you as well. And without a regulated nervous system, just having awareness, you're going to create way more stress, and the cortisol levels are going to spike up in your body, and that is why you still have lots of fat around the belly and the back area that is not leaving, no matter how many diets you've tried, no matter how many steps you manage to put in a day. So it's very important that you put yourself first, that you regulate your nervous system, and that you shift from awareness to actual real transformation. And to conclude, I want you to take this with you. Healing is lived, not discussed. You do not need to keep on discussing the same thing over and over and over again. One, for your own sanity, and two, also for the people around you. Because at the end of the day, if you have a dysregulated nervous system and you are constantly spilling this dysregulation onto others, other people who respect themselves and take care of their own regulation in their body, they are going to step away from you. Because if your dysregulation is pouring into their nervous system, anything that costs people their peace, it's way too expensive. And you should also live by this. If it costs you your peace, it is very expensive. So start by shifting from awareness to transformation. This is very important. Also remember that it is very difficult to heal in the same places that made you sick. So make sure you set your boundaries, but make sure that you also stick to your boundaries, because people are going to try and overstep your boundaries, not because they don't respect you, but because they are most probably also dysregulated. Have lots of compassion for the generations before you, because the generations before you were also living and doing life from their own wounds, the same as you are doing life from your own wounds. So have lots of compassion towards them, but you can still place them where they belong. And it is time that you stop pointing fingers at your mom, at your dad, at your ex-friend, at your work. It's time to stop pointing fingers and remind yourself that the responsibility to heal is now yours. And heal, because on the other side of healing, there is such a beautiful life to live. It is possible to wake up feeling peace. It is possible to wake up feeling gratitude. It is possible to look forward to another day rather than constantly feeling like every single day is an internal battle, an external battle. I too used to think that that was not possible, but trust me, I totally flipped my life at 360. And I'm not saying that I never have moments where I cry. Actually, I cry quite a lot because I release a lot of emotions. But it's crying because I'm releasing emotions from the body, not because I'm entertaining stories that are not good for me. And sometimes there are stories that are living inside my head rent-free that aren't good for me. But the difference from the past is that I don't entertain them anymore and I shift them immediately. On the other side, there is such a beautiful life waiting for you. And you were not brought here on this planet to suffer. You are here to feel loved, at peace, and whole. And if you are ready to shift from awareness to real transformation, message me, because I have an amazing group that's starting very soon with lots of like-minded people on their own healing journey, where it is a very safe container. Everything is confidential, and you will see real lasting change once and for all. Trust me. Thank you. And I can't wait for next Friday for our next episode. That's going to be with an amazing guest, someone whom I am deeply fond of, I look up to so much, and it's going to be an exciting episode. Thank you so much. And I wish you a very lovely weekend. And remember that everything is going to be okay if you put in the work.